America is a land of bright lights and broken dreams, a place that delights and inspires a hunger for fame. It's also a place that some people find hard to leave, even after death.
My name's Gail Porter and I'm a skeptic.
My name is Chris Fleming and I am a sensitive.
It's my mission to investigate alleged sightings and hauntings of Hollywood ghosts.
A sensitive can detect paranormal events beyond the range of the 5 senses.
I wouldn't say I'm a non-believer, but I'm definitely a skeptic.
Together, our mission is to investigate the dead famous. Organised crime has left an indelible stain on the fabric of 20th century America. The landscape of this country has been shaped, shifted and transformed with the help of mob money, violence and intimidation. In 30s Chicago, gangsters like Al Capone ruled the roost. In the 40s, the dusty desert town of Vegas was transformed into a den of debauchery and gambling. The mob ran rings around the authorities all across America, leaving a trail of destruction and death in their wake.
Films and literature have romanticized the mob and its many colorful characters. But amongst ghost hunters and paranormal experts, their alleged supernatural activity is considered the most frightening.
We'll be investigating the apparitions and sightings connected with the mob. But what will we discover?
And if we do meet any gangster ghosts, will they be pleased to meet us?
Our journey would take us from the sidewalks and basements of LA to the water of Ventura, before ending behind the bars of the most notorious penitentiary in America, Alcatraz.
I'm scared. I really am genuinely scared.
The first step in our investigation took us to Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. Normally a place of laughter, the famous comedy store was once a mob hangout called Ciro's, and somewhere that is said to contain the most malevolent ghost in Los Angeles.
Is there anything that you instantly feel when you walk into this room?
When we first walked in the entrance, I was getting like tingling in my hands and in my arms, sensing like there's some type of energy that is here, that is present. I need to distinguish whether that energy is from people that are living or if there's any residue from something that was dead.
I'd arranged to meet up with parapsychologist Barry Taff.
Meet you too.
Now, I know that you know a lot about the building, the comedy store, and you have had a few experiences here yourself. Could you tell us what you've come across and what exactly are we looking for?
People that have worked here start experiencing unusual events, such as object movements, chairs moving around in this room on their own. They'd come in, the chairs would be moved around. They'd find glasses in the tables stacked up, glasses that weren't even in this room.
There's been no logical explanation for anything?
No.
The first time I was here, I was invited by Mitzi Shore back in the early 80s. While taking a tour of the back corridors and the back rooms behind this room we're in now, some coins, pennies, fell from the ceiling.
Many years later, I was back here on a number of occasions with different film crews shooting different shows about the event that had transpired here. And while actually in this exact location where we're standing, I was closing my briefcase, and I turned and noticed behind me in a booth back there, and I saw 3 men standing and staring at me. They were wearing pinstripe suits, very wide lapels, wide brim hats, typical of like the 30s and 40s. And they were looking at me very intently, and they were very much aware that I was looking at them. And I assumed they were hired by the film crew, by the production company that was doing the shoot, as extras to recreate a scene that took place here many years ago. I ignored them after I saw them. I closed my briefcase, looked back, they were gone.
And you've got no logical explanation for it whatsoever?
No.
Maybe an apparition, maybe some people that were here long before I was ever around, before I even lived.
Barry took us backstage to the place where he'd experienced the strange incident with the falling coins.
Mitzi, my assistant, and I walked in the room as we just did now, and suddenly a couple pennies fell from the ceiling and they struck the floor right at our feet here. And then more pennies fell and bounced. You can hear them hit because it's a tile floor, it's not carpet. The question is, where do they come from?
I wasn't sure that I was convinced by this, as I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. So Barry led us to the basement, where he claims to have had another physical encounter with the paranormal.
Well, this is the infamous basement down here, where most employees here won't go day, and especially at night. Got a dubious reputation, to say the least.
Really?
Yes. This is the basement. I should tell you from the get-go that this is where I had one of my most intense, probably painful experiences. I felt as if someone took a hard rod or baton and struck me behind the knees. And my knees buckled and almost hit the floor.
very painful. And of course, there was only a fraction of the stuff that's in her now, so we couldn't account for that. It was rather very, very upsetting and frightening.
What do you think that was? Do you think that's a mob connection? Because obviously, you know, you said you saw the guys upstairs with the suits and the hats. And
Ciro's was owned, run, and operated by mobsters, gangsters, thugs. And it wouldn't be beyond speculation to think that people were beaten, tortured, perhaps even murdered down here.
Right now, I'm really starting to pick up something, a violent, mad, pissed off presence, like mad, as if something was going on. And I'm getting drawn actually to this room. So I feel like I'm picking something up in here. Feels like there's like some violent energy here, as if something's been left behind. I'm just wondering if anybody was ever killed down here or buried down here.
You know, and given the types of people that frequented this place, I think it's well within reason to assume that people were beaten here and possibly murdered.
There's definitely that there was violent activity that went on around here. I'm wondering if that has anything to do with what people have seen down here.
It seems to be almost a given premise in the paranormal research that most hauntings are precipitated by violent traumatic death, and there's not much more violent than being murdered.
Outside, it had grown dark, but inside the Comedy Store, things were about to grow darker as we ventured back into the basement to continue our investigation. I'd felt uncomfortable before with the lights on, and my anxiety increased as my eyes became accustomed to the shadows that lurked amongst the blackness.
Let's see what we can find in here.
how are you feeling? You sensing anything when you walk in?
Not yet.
I'm smelling what I smelled before. Subtle sense of hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, decomposing organic matter.
And you can be that specific?
Well, yeah, it's very strong to me down here.
Decomposing organic matter. Oh, that's good.
Well, that's what happens.
So we may have bodies down here. I want to go back to that one room that we went into earlier. Because I'm not feeling anything here right now.
What does that thing read anyway?
It's electromagnetic fields.
Did you just breathe in like 10 seconds ago? My camera just went off.
Like this?
Hey, give me some light. My camera went off.
Barry? What?
I'm going to have you lead back towards that other room.
Okay.
Because I can't see.
Yes. Wow. Such a perfume right there.
What are you smelling?
Not the same thing I smelled out front there.
The strongest part was in that one room. Let's go back over there. Give it another chance.
Ooh. It's that same, it's real subtle, but it's not as strong as it was, but it's there. Real subtle.
What could be causing that then? Just
There could be a lot of materials in these boxes that could be rotting. I mean, you know, just breaking down over time, going back many years. Or maybe, as Chris said, maybe there's something under the floor that really is decomposing that's organic. Oh. Again, it's like comes in waves.
Yeah, you're the only one smelling it.
Whoa!
that wasn't me.
Did you smell it?
No.
Oh, now I smell it. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, really bad. Wow.
Wow.
Like it just went right past my face. Really intense. Wow.
All right, I'm tingling.
I can't smell anything. So can paranormal activities attribute to smell?
Most of the time, in situations of hauntings or poltergeist, you'll get smells of flowers, floral smells, but occasionally you'll get really a smell of rotting flesh.
I didn't know what to make of this, but little did I know that our journey to the heart of the mob would bring on an assault on all of our senses.
Something just blew on me.
It was the morning after our investigation into the Comedy Store ghosts. But just as I thought I'd left behind my unease about the place, Chris had something to show me.
So what is it that you wanted to talk to me about?
Well, last night at the Comedy Store, I mean, how did you feel walking around in the basement?
I didn't like it.
Remember when I was walking around with this camera? I filmed some things that I think you might be interested in hearing. Now, I didn't pick up anything visually, but what I did get, ironically, is some EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon. What that is picking up any abnormal voices that does not represent anyone that is actually physically present there. I want you to listen to both of these things that I have queued up right now, because I want to see if you identify it as anything else that I might be missing.
Okay.
All right? Now here, put this on. I'm talking to Barry and to you, and I'm telling him to go to the other room, and I hear Chris. I want you to tell me if you think or recognize it as anybody else's voice that was present.
When I get back to you.
Barry?
What?
I'm gonna have you lead back towards that other room.
Okay.
Because I can't see.
Yes?
Yeah, go back into that other room. Because I can't see. Chris. Now, I don't recognize it as Barry's voice, nor is it your voice, nor is it mine, because
Do
I'm
it again.
talking. I'm gonna have you lead back towards that other room.
Okay.
Because I can't see.
Yes?
Yeah, go back into that other room.
Yes?
Yeah, go back into that other room.
Yes?
What do you think?
I don't recognise the voice.
Okay.
That's scary. I don't like that.
Could the voice have been Barry or the crew? Yet it wasn't a voice any of us recognised.
Yes.
There is no logical explanation. But we had to move on to Ventura Harbour, and a boat once said to have been owned by Al Capone.
I've looked at the history in the archives, I have read books, and I've also interviewed several people that have owned and experienced things on this boat. And in my belief, it's definitely haunted. My husband has heard knocking, yoo-hoo, things that I've seen things fall off desks before, things removed.
A couple of my buddies have apparently had their legs pulled and yanked, causing them to fall. I haven't experienced any of it, but my children won't sleep aboard because they believe it to be haunted. It's a great place to have a party.
And that's her. That's the Duchess. What do you think?
Well, it's not as big as I thought it would be.
I'd arranged for us to meet Richard Sennett, a renowned local parapsychologist and somebody who'd performed many investigations on board.
Nice to meet you, I'm Gail. This is Chris.
Hi, Richard.
Thanks for coming along today. Now, could you fill us in on a bit of a history of this boat?
Oh, the Duchess 3 has a great history. It's a very unseemly history as well. It's been owned by all sorts of unscrupulous people, but the legends are quite fantastic. Some say it was even owned by the gangster Al Capone.
Oh, really?
Right, back in the 1920s, the man who organized crime in America. Everyone who's had this boat has had something happen to them, believers and skeptics alike. When they were restoring the boat, one of the electricians actually saw the wiring come to life and wrap around his throat.
Richard's stories filled me with anxiety, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to step foot inside.
One of the first things that I was alerted to was the fact that people in the marina would see someone standing near the helm. And they would think that someone had broken in.
And that was when the boat was empty?
It was empty. There was nobody here. And people spending the night here, on the couch here and in this main cabin, have actually heard footsteps on either side, either companionway. But some of the people tell me that they locked the doors.
Right.
And then someone physically unlocked them, opened the door,
like they're coming in,
and then they closed it and locked it again.
So we can assume that this is a very active boat.
Very active. Whatever's here,
Good.
it continues.
Does it like to make itself known?
Occasionally. We've got lots of activities, but strangely enough, this is the least haunted.
So where's the most haunted?
In the forward cabin.
So this is where most of the energy is.
Whoa, I don't like right here.
Chris?
Who or what was making such a big impression on Chris? Local rumour tells of a man being strangled in the same area where Chris was standing.
Just a lot of blood in the head. Pressure. I just don't like it down here.
What are the stories that have been related to downstairs, Richard?
It's colder over here.
Well, there's two main ghosts. One of the ghostly man is believed to haunt down here. Now, during the reconstructions, they had a mirror here. And one of the people who had just purchased a boat looked into the mirror and saw a man in a Nazi uniform. Others have seen like a whirlwind of energy down here.
I'm just sensing someone they're upset. They know that they're going to die.
Think he was murdered here?
Oh, there was something occurred over there. Definitely. Someone was hanging there because there's so much pressure in the head, and I see as if they're hanging. I see when it first came down, I just felt as if someone was hanging there. Then there's something over here. That seems to be more, I want to say more female.
How do sensitives become sensitives? How do they know?
The sensitives pick up latent emotions and absorb them into themselves.
How do they do that?
Feel them. It's a gift that they have.
Chris's heightened emotions occurred as the sun set over the Pacific Ocean. Back at the harbour, we were about to take our investigations into the bowels of the boat and into darkness.
Now watch your footing here, everybody. There's a step right there.
That's it.
Got it?
Got it.
Richard, watch the step. You all right?
All right.
Do spirits come out in the dark or...?
No, you can see them better, that's all.
Oh,
They're
I
always
see.
around, but in the darkness, they make themselves better known, better visible.
Oh, okay.
But remember, you can smell ghosts
Yep,
as well as feel their touch or feel a change in the temperature.
Just freezing.
I know, but I don't know with you. You
I
could
am
be
so
feeling
cold.
something. You do all this
I don't
stuff.
know what
I'm
it
just
is.
keeping an eye on you.
Every haunted place I've ever been to is cold.
Yeah.
There aren't any hot haunted places. Always cold.
Yeah. It's cold outside, but it seems like it's colder
Go
in here.
up to the front. Are you getting anything?
No, I really haven't felt anything in this cabin.
Are you ready to go down below? Have you felt all that before?
It's either now or never. Is anybody here? This is the coldest spot in the whole boat, is right here.
Not really any different from the rest of this room.
Not feeling anything?
How are you feeling now, Chris? Do you feel...
No, I feel okay.
Go over where you felt the hanging.
Anybody here? Give us a sign. Give us a sign that you are here.
Ask them to make a sound.
If there is anybody here, make a sound. Give us a sound that you are here.
Nothing.
You getting something?
I'm not picking up anything. Ooh, ice cold. Ice cold. I'm not getting any emotions or any senses. I'm kind of numb. I'm feeling just cold. Like when I was standing here, I was comfortable. And all of a sudden I would just feel this ice cold, just like wrap itself around me.
I decided to leave Chris in the cabin to see what he could pick up by himself.
If there's anything here, I'm all alone. They're upstairs, just you and me. Give me a sign. Come on. Who are you? Oh, there's gotta be something here. This is definitely the coldest spot. But I need better proof. I need more proof, God, it's like a vortex or something here. I don't like this spot. Okay, it's really cold here. Really, really cold. Whoa. Something just blew on me. Huh. Do that again. It just blew on me again. If there's a draft.
Could the spirit of the murdered shipmate be trying to get Chris's attention? There was no draft in the cabin. The outside doors were locked. But whatever occurred here was nothing to what would happen at the last stop on our trip, at the desolate, abandoned island of Alcatraz.
An inmate was murdered in one of these cells.
It was the morning after our night on Al Capone's boat, and Chris and I met up to go over last night's events. I was concerned as Chris had seemed disturbed by what had happened, and I wanted to find out why.
Last night it seemed quite intense for you, and I'm not entirely sure what went on and what was happening with you. Are you okay today?
Well, you know when Richard took us around on that little tour of the boat, and we went downstairs, and I wasn't feeling anything anywhere, but as soon as I hit that stairs, I felt something. I mean, dramatic. Well, I was also recording, using my micro cassette recorder to pick up anything. And I got some voices. Yeah, put that on.
They're not our voices.
No. Now, right here, Richard says, Chris, do you want to go second? And a voice pops in that says, yeah. As close as I can get it is saying something like Madaba, Madaba.
Would you like to go second, Chris? Yeah, I'll go by.
Do you hear that unknown voice?
Would you like to go second, Chris? Yeah, I'll go by.
There's definitely something there.
Yes.
I don't know what it's saying. I don't know what that is. It could be anything. It sounds like something, which is it's positive for us because at least we're getting something. But we've got the big one coming up next.
I know.
Alcatraz.
I know.
We journeyed north from Ventura and crossed the Bay Bridge into San Francisco. Our destination lay on an island accessed only by boat. Alcatraz is perhaps the most famous penitentiary in the world, but also just as famous for its alleged paranormal activity. The Miwok Indians thought evil spirits inhabited the island, and as we approached, I could see why.
Well, Alcatraz, this is it.
We're here.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited. I felt something when I was getting off the boat. I did sense a spirit. Some of the ghosts that are trapped here are not happy. They want to get out of here. So let's see what I can find.
Okay, let's go for it.
The safety of San Francisco seemed very far away. This was a place America's most notorious prisoners called home. A place that hasn't held prisoners since 1963. But the place where the ghosts of these tormented inmates are still said to remain. We were on an island, there was no escape. If any of us chose to run, we wouldn't get far.
So how long have you worked in Alcatraz, Laurie?
16 years.
Now, Alcatraz got a very fearsome reputation as being quite a brutal prison. Could you give us a brief potted history of Alcatraz?
The prison history created in 1934 for the worst of the worst inmates, the troublemakers. Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly. People that couldn't get along in other prisons, they were sent here where they were kept under a real strict routine. There were 8 inmates murdered at the hands of other inmates. Most of them in the industry, quite a few in the kitchen, and even a couple of stabbings out here in the recreation yard. Somebody looked at you wrong, you didn't know why, your job, kill him.
Now, you mentioned Al Capone. Could you tell me a little bit about his time here?
Well, he was here for 4.5 years. He had come from Atlanta, Georgia Federal Prison, where he bribed all the guards, and he had catered meals brought in silk uniforms and a ticker tape machine in his cell, ran his business as usual at Atlanta, Georgia. Here, he worked in the laundry. He played the banjo in the orchestra. But after 3.5 years of being here, he had syphilis, which goes to your head and kind of works like Alzheimer's disease. So he became pretty senile. He was unable to take care of himself. He refused medical care. He became worse. And in 1939, he was transferred out, spent a year in a medical prison, and then was released and died a free man in Florida about 7 years later.
How did Al Capone interact with other inmates?
Well, Al Capone was a very flamboyant person. He loved to talk to people, probably make a real good park ranger. But on one occasion, Al Capone was even stabbed in the shower room basement by another inmate.
There have been lots of rumours that Alcatraz is haunted. Have you ever encountered anything paranormal or sightings, or have you heard any stories?
Well, there are stories of the place being haunted. We, the Park Service, have no proof of it, but I've heard from inmates that they say unusual things would happen. There are lots of people that feel that they hear strange noises, that they can't explain why they happened, that people that have worked out here as night security guards say they've been touched and nobody was there to touch them. But if we look around hard enough, you never know what you'll find.
Chris had met up with Pam Heath, San Francisco's leading parapsychologist, who was joining us for our night on the island.
I'm Dr. Pamela Ray Heath, and my specialty is parapsychology. I have a doctorate degree in it. Well, I haven't been to Alcatraz before, but one thing that other parapsychologists who have been here have mentioned is that there's tremendous place memory. So I suspect that our sensitive is going to pick up a fair bit of that. It's going to be very strong.
Pam, so here we are at Alcatraz, okay? And what we're going to do here is an investigation to see what type of paranormal phenomena we can get. And I see that you brought a couple items with you.
Yeah.
Show me what you brought.
Oh, I always bring my bag with me. And my favorite is the tri-field meter, which lets us measure moving electromagnetic fields. We have an audio tape recorder,
okay,
so that we can try and get electronic voice phenomena for instrumental transcommunication. Digital camera.
There you go.
Of course, ghosts are good at playing with digital cameras, so you kind of have to be careful with them because they can make them malfunction very easily.
I actually have 2 cassette recorders. Sometimes when Gail and I do investigations, I'll have her take one, so that way we can see if we get the same thing or if we get different things on our tape player. Now this, the thermonuclear scanner, which I'm sure you're aware of.
Yeah.
It sends out a little red beam, a laser, gives you a direct temperature. That's pretty much what I got.
Pretty good stuff.
I think all this stuff's going to work?
We'll see.
With our equipment checked and verified, the team was ready to go on a tour with Laurie.
This is Al Capone's cell, the most famous cell on Alcatraz. None of the luxuries that he had in Atlanta, Georgia.
How long did he spend in this cell?
He was here for 4.5 years. He probably only did part of that time in this cell because he had syphilis, so he went up to the hospital for about a year of his stay here. So this is the hospital. Behind us would be guards in the gun gallery pointing machine guns at us. This is Robert Stroud's cell. He was, of course, known as psychotic and dangerous.
He was also known as the Birdman, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. So people say in here they get funny feelings or vibrations. There's a picture over there of Stroud. They say if you look at it long enough, it looks back at you.
And why did they think he was psychotic? What did he do to prove to them that he was psychotic?
Well, one day he'd tell you about how to save birds' lives. He would help you out. The next day he'd snap your neck. Well, this is the hospital ward cell area, so prisoners would have been in these rooms here, 1, 3, or 5. It kept fights. This back room here is the isolation. That's where they kept Al Capone. He was suffering from syphilis, and they didn't want him sharing it with anybody, so he was back here. Now, this is the shower room, first place that inmates came when they came to the island for the first time. They were strip searched, given a shower or a clean uniform, and sent upstairs. And then every week they came down here and showered. Al Capone was stabbed down here in the shower room. Somebody came at him with a pair of hair-cutting scissors and tried stabbing him. They injured him. So he was shaken up pretty badly from that one. He did survive. And
have you had any paranormal sightings down here at all?
Well, we had a nighttime security guard come down the flight of stairs behind us over there, and as he got to the bottom of the steps, there was nobody in the room. Something touched him. He turned around real quick, and whatever it was gone. This is D block, the isolation area. These are the dark cells where inmates supposedly spent days in total darkness. And of course, it would be very dark and very cold. So would that be a place that extra activity would like to take place?
We were about to find out. As darkness fell, we were going to investigate one of the most paranormally active places in America, or so rumor had it. But none of us were prepared for the events about to unfold. It was time to brave one of the most notorious places in America, Alcatraz. I went on alone to the shower room as Laurie guided Chris and Pam upstairs to the murky corridors of the hospital wing. But things were happening quicker than any of us had anticipated.
My battery's just died.
It's dead?
Yep. Any general impressions?
Yeah, my face is starting to move a little bit.
This appears to be a part of the hospital ward, maybe the operating room suite. There's an operating room table near where Chris is standing.
Something here that's pissed off.
Like it's breathing very fast.
Well, I'm in the shower room, and this was the room where Al Capone was stabbed. What was that noise? And this is the room where one of the night watchmen felt himself getting tapped on the shoulder as he came down the stairs. There's a mouse. It's running towards me. It's not nice. It's not nice doing this on your own at night in Alcatraz. It's very spooky. I've had enough. I don't want to be in here anymore.
Oh, you feel that coldness? Just something in this hallway. What the hell is this?
The X-ray room. That's where the old X-ray machine would have been. A lot of people would have probably laid here with broken bones. There'd be a lot of pain there. This is the Birdman's of Alcatraz's room.
All right, I'm getting an imprint.
Really good. Yeah. Talk to me, Chris.
Bloody.
Anything else besides hate? Yeah, smiling. He's like crazy like a fox, huh?
It seems Chris is experiencing the feelings of the inmate in this cell, the Birdman of Alcatraz.
Took great pleasure in the planning of killing people. I considered the birds more precious than people. Sometimes he would rush to the door. He wanted so bad to watch.
I think Chris is picking up what we'd like to call place memory, which is to say, especially with people who are really crazy, they can imprint emotions, feelings, personality very strongly on a room. It's almost like the room itself becomes a camcorder and records impressions that it picks up. And then someone who's sensitive can come back later and read that.
I'm actually in the prison bit where all the cells are. It's really creepy. I definitely heard a noise there. I definitely heard a noise there.
Let's get out of the track, Bill, before... What's happening, Chris? What are you feeling? The camera. Who is it? Can he tell who it was?
Man. No, I felt like there was a big man, some big man, but then when my body did that, it was like, just, you know, like a little guy.
I'm in the isolation unit, and I'm not really wanting to go in here because I didn't tell Chris. But apparently, an inmate was murdered in one of these cells, and there wasn't anybody else in the cell with him. Can you hear that? Oh yeah, what's that?
Savage, just savage. I don't know who the hell I am.
I got nothing on the tri-field.
He beat the hell out of somebody. Took pride in it because of his strength. Felt he can crush a man's neck. When he was in there, he ruled. And he would just go in and beat somebody. If he had access to him, he would beat him. Oh, he loved to put the fear in people.
He was good at it, I suspect.
Just rage. Get them. Smash right in the face. Oh, God. Bloody. Just.
This is a different impression from the one that was laughing, saying,
Yeah,
"You can't touch me."
else.
Different being. Yeah, I'd be curious if this is the room that Al Capone was in.
Yeah, I want to go to the showers.
Okay.
What's that? Huh? What's that noise? I'm scared. I really am genuinely scared. Because I don't know where I am, and I don't like it, and I don't know if I'm freaking myself out, but there's definitely noises.
That's not a pleasant feeling. I'm not going to tell you what I'm picking up. Like, what went on in here? Was it laundry? Oh, what? This is like the most positive energy in this whole place. It's like, thank God, I get something in here. It's like...
Chris's emotions suddenly switched. He'd gone from feeling happy to an increasing sense of despair. Who or what was making Chris feel this way?
What did he do? What got him in?
He wants to go.
Who did he trust?
Johnny.
Johnny.
Johnny's gone.
Would he remember Johnny if Johnny came back?
Basically, he hangs around here because he's afraid to leave the place. He died here. And he's afraid to go to the other side because he's afraid he's going to be punished. He killed somebody. He lost it. He always regretted it. That's why he's afraid to leave.
The last place for Chris to investigate was the most notorious area on Alcatraz, the isolation cells on D Block. Whilst preparing to film Chris in the cell, our main camera picked up what appears to be a startling EVP. Only Chris and the cameraman were there. There were no women around, so whose voice was this?
I don't know.
But that wasn't the end. What happens next appears to be a two-way conversation, but who or what is replying to Chris? With nobody else in there, no radio waves and no electronic interference, is this a conversation with a ghost?
Okay, here I am. I'm sitting in cell 12. Originally, I picked up more energy in 13 and 14, but Coming back here, I feel more in number 12, so this is where I'm going to sit, see if I can feel anything. Got my tape player for EVPs. Got my bag. Do something, say something, or make a noise that will prove that you haunt Alcatraz. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. There's a lot of people that don't believe in you at all, don't believe you exist, don't believe that you're here. How does that make you feel? I think you're a joke. Or am I just making you mad? Am I making you mad?
That may only have been his tape player, but could those voices really be those of a ghost? Who knows for sure, but I for one was relieved and grateful that one of the most frightening and anxious nights of my life had finally come to an end. I was grateful to watch the sunrise across San Francisco from the safety of my hotel room before meeting up with Chris to discuss our findings.
Well, you must be absolutely drained after last night in Alcatraz. What exactly happened?
My abilities are getting stronger as we're doing more of these investigations. I picked up imprints, that's what I call them, okay, was memories left behind by some of the prisoners that were there before. And I tell you what, some of them were just messed up psychologically, twisted.
So what exactly did you pick up?
When we went to isolation cell where Al Capone had been, I picked up his, what a brilliant man, in a way that he was very organized. He had such a huge ego, but he really thought that he was going to control that facility. He really thought he was going to be able to bribe everybody and take over.
But overall in this journey, how do you think we fared?
Well, as for actually coming in contact with any ghosts or seeing anything, I don't think we really got to that point. But I think the whole idea was to get an idea what it was like being a mobster, the highs and lows of their lifestyle. And I think, that I was able to really feel that with some of the places that we went.
Our search was over. I wouldn't forget my night in Alcatraz in a hurry. Our investigation into the mob had shaken me. I hadn't seen a ghost. Nothing had reached out and touched me. But the distance between light and darkness was now somehow shorter. And I knew that, though I'll never know any mobsters in real life, I had come as close as I wanted to them in death.